I was getting a tattoo a couple weeks ago from Ian at Unroyal, who is a big fan of yours, by the way. I guess you guys grew up playing some new sports together.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and he told me, you got to stop coming in here like Podcast Billy. You got to be my feels, whatever. And you're Podcast Petey when you're pulling it out of Rob.
But you could be like on the toilet and you call Petey to say what's up, and before you know it, you're laying on your couch crying.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's why I say it. He's like my therapist when I come in here. He's pulling it out of you every time.
Calling missed.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we're all human beings out here. Like, you can try to act like a tough guy all you want, but I mean, we could still be tough and compassionate. I don't want anybody to be like me necessarily. Or say, oh, you should be having conversations with adults and make them feel like softies. But
you want to pull people out a little bit. And But that's
just I think my point was not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
It's been nice to see that side of him. I always thought he was just on a mission to just dominate everybody.
He still is.
And I'm just glad that I wasn't on his path, man. He always kind of took me under his wing.
But that's what growth is, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you still want to be that strong, dominant figure, but you know there's a way to use it, a way to be, and a way to approach other people. That's maturing. That's refining. And especially in your industry, you kind of, when you go to court, that's like war. You got to be ready to fight, defend your client, advocate, whatever it is. So I'm assuming you're not incredibly passive at this point, but growing up, I always watched you. You were kind of like the alpha. Your father's an alpha. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
I get it. But you've modified your life to be that kind alpha.
Yeah.
That when needed, can do alpha shit, and when needed, just plays his role on the side.
You realize, and like you realize at a certain point that it's better to have a big circle than a small circle too, right? Like you spend your like 20s feeling like, oh, I got everything I need, and then like you fall into more friends, right? Like I fell into rugby club friends, right? And I fell into Shore Thing friends, and then you fell into the Howell friends, and you realize pretty quickly that the more you added to that extended family, the better it was for you, right? The healthier it was for you, and so I guess, at a certain point, you realize it was better to have more friends than to keep some like weird defensive like guard up all the time about everybody. Yeah, and I guess I'm glad I guess I'm glad I discovered that. It was probably later than most other people discovered it. It was probably at some point in my 30s, right? But yeah, here we are, and I cry during movies now. Yeah,
that's funny you say that, bro. I realized the amount of growth I made. We had a dog that we had to put down, and I was having a really difficult time with it. And I come downstairs, and my wife's watching this movie about a fucking dog who was waiting for his owner that died at a train station every day. The dog showed up waiting for the guy to get off the train. I cried for 30 fucking minutes.
Dude.
I've never done that.
You might want to look into the testosterone.
We're going after the new year. I'm getting on. That's my New Year's resolution. We're doing the TRT. But at that point, I knew that my life has changed. And I am not the man I once was, and I am okay to cry. And honestly,
attaboy.
I'm not crying too much, but I like being okay to cry.